Hello, everyone. It's Dr. T. I'm a tech trainer and career coach, and I help professionals transition to tech by leveraging their existing skills and abilities. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the Scrum Master role and preparing for the Scrum Master interview. As we discussed in another video, the Scrum Master role is typically not an entry level position within tech. And by that, I mean it may not be your first role within the tech industry if you have not had background and experience in agile product delivery or agile project management. The Scrum Master role is really a leadership role where the company is leaning on the person in this role to bring them along and help them understand the benefits of Scrum and Agile for their organization. So you'll need that experience negotiating and dealing with leadership and coaching and negotiating and being a facilitator. So let's look at the STAR method as a way of demonstrating your experience and your background in the area of Scrum Master. Now, the STAR method is a behavior-based approach to answering interview questions. So it's all about action and actively speaking about your role and your background and your experience within a scenario. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, and results. The situation is the specific work activity or challenge that you engaged in, and it helps you to demonstrate to the interviewer that you are a problem solver and that you have critical thinking skills. You move to the task where you talk to the interviewer about the goal you achieved as you worked in the situation that you presented previously. Your next step is to move to the actions that you took to complete the task. And then lastly, you round out your response with the results, which is the outcome of the actions that you described and the actions that you took. So let's look at an example. So here we have an interview question where the interviewer is asking the candidate to describe a situation where you had to deal with a stakeholder who was resistant to the Scrum framework. So here you have a stakeholder who was resistant. That's the challenge that the interviewer wants you to walk them through and talk about how you overcame the challenge and what were the results. So let's start with the situation, which is the entry point for the STAR method. So remember, you had a stakeholder who was resistant. So the situation and the picture that you're going to paint is that you were Scrum Master for a team that was implementing Scrum from a bottom-up proof of concept approach. And what do you mean by that? So here, the company has invested in Scrum and in Agile, but only on a small scale. They selected a team. They are bringing you in to prove that Agile and Scrum can be effectively implemented within the organization and deliver value. So that's a challenge in and of itself. The rest of the challenge part of your role was that you had a senior manager who was resistant to change, so wanted to continue to do things the old way, and was skeptical of the benefits of Scrum. Okay, so there was a bottom-up approach, so no real launch or real sponsor identified, no senior manager saying this is what we will do. This is being implemented at the team level and you're leading that team level effort. Also, there's a senior manager who is resistant to change, is change averse, and now that makes him skeptical of Scrum. So that's the situation that you're painting, and that's a situation that should be resolved in your results area. But let's make our way there. The next step in the STAR method is the task that you took. So here's where you want to talk that you were responsible for. So here's the area where you talk about what your responsibility was as it relates to the challenge. So your responsibility was to help the stakeholder understand the benefits of Scrum. Okay. So not only did you have to bring the team along and deliver a solution using a new process and a new framework within your organization, but you also had this added role and responsibility of helping the stakeholder understand the benefits of Scrum. Okay. So what actions did you take to meet that challenge? A possible way to approach the task is to talk about the time when, for 3 sprints, you held lunch and learn sessions and you had them open to all employees. And that's where you talked about Scrum and you educated them on Scrum. So you had a 6-week, if it was 2-week sprints, you had 6 weeks where you had these sessions where you opened it up to employees and they could come in, learn about Scrum, and become exposed to some of the benefits of implementing Scrum within an organization. You also gave them a forum to ask any questions, and you opened it up to any concerns and any ideas and where you could provide support to the organization. You then met with organizational change leadership within the organization, and you talked about how you could continue to spread this message. And so the decision was made for recordings to be uploaded on the company intranet so that those in attendance would have a place to get a refresher, or those who couldn't attend could still get that knowledge and exposure from the company intranet. You also created a Jira dashboard for your project, because remember, you not only had this role of educating the senior manager, but you also needed to function in your role, which was to develop a solution using the Scrum framework. So your team was using Jira, and you used the dashboard to provide real-time insight into key performance indicators. And you opened it up to all of senior leadership to see what you and your team was doing. That's a lot. So you really worked diligently to be that champion for Scrum, and that you held those lunch and learn sessions. And you also had a place on the intranet. You worked with exterior teams, because remember, a Scrum Master is a facilitator and a coach and a negotiator. So you negotiated with organizational change leadership to have some recordings of your sessions done, and then to upload those onto the internet as a part of your proof of concept and knowledge sharing. Then you created a dashboard for your project within Jira. So you not only used the tool to track user stories and track progress, but then you had a real-time dashboard that anyone who had access to the dashboard could see your progress, how well you were doing, see that continuous improvement over time, and which is exactly what senior leadership is interested in. If they're going to make a long-term investment, they need to know how effective it's going to be, and why not use real-time data to show that growth and expansion. So those are the actions that you took. Now you want to round this question up with, well, what were the results of that training, and knowledge sharing that you gave, and then that actual implementation and solution delivery under the Scrum framework. So here's where you talk about the transparency of that dashboard and the training that you gave related to the Scrum process, how it helped that resistant stakeholder to see the value. Because maybe he got that dashboard, maybe he never had that kind of insight, or he or she never had that kind of insight real time into how things were going. Maybe he wasn't pulled in until the end where there was an issue to solve, but to actually get that real time data that is key for transparency and key for planning and decision making. Real time data. So you were able to give that real time data, get that background and knowledge to the organization on the Scrum process. And in doing so, that improved the time to market for products. And it also decreased the defect rates of the products that you did release, because Scrum is about continuous improvement. It's about having those sprint retrospectives to talk about, well, what do we do and how can we get better? So improved time to market for the product because you got better over time, you got faster over time, and you were able to look back on things that may have been an issue and improve upon them. You also helped the company to benefit from a 30% increase in customer satisfaction rates. So maybe your company, after delivering a product for their client, they sent out surveys to find out how well they enjoy the product. And the customer could be internal or external. So you implemented these, your company implements these surveys, and then they get that feedback from the customer. And that's a way of continuously improving as well. And this Scrum initiative that you launched from the bottom up with resistance to change from senior leadership ended up increasing customer satisfaction by 30%. That's a measurable result and a positive result. So you've walked the interviewer through how you handled a challenge, what you did to improve for the company, and how you benefited the company. And these 4 steps, that's the STAR method. It's behavior-based, it's action-based. If you have any ideas or any questions on how the STAR method works and how we can talk about it further, leave a comment. Certainly let us know if this is the method that you use to prepare for interviews. Like to hear about it, leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found the video helpful. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.